Attention American poker players! Do you want to legally cash out your poker winnings to PayPal? Then head to globalpoker.com and see why it's the fastest growing site for US players. That's globalpoker.com. Have you heard about America's Card Room? Already the most trusted US online poker site since 2001, America's Card Room deals out more than 246,000 hands of real money poker every day. And right now, Poker Stories listeners can get in on a great deal. Just head over to americascardroom.eu and sign up using the promo code CPPodcast. New players will get a 100% deposit bonus up to $1,000, 20 days of free jackpot poker, and 4 entries into the $250 new depositor free roll. Don't wait. You can be playing poker online right now. Head to americascardroom.eu today and don't forget to use the promo code CPPodcast for your bonus.
Poker Stories is an audio series that features casual interviews with some of the game's best players and personalities. Each episode highlights a well-known figure in the poker world and dives deep into their favorite tales both on and off the feld.
Welcome to Poker Stories, a podcast brought to you by Card Player, the Poker Authority, and hosted by me, Julio Rodriguez. This is episode number 29 with high-stakes pro Ankush Mandavia. Mandavia has been in poker since he graduated from college, but he spent most of his first years in the game playing online. It really wasn't until a couple of years after Black Friday that he started to show up more on the live tournament scene, and after some initial growing pains, he's managed to do very well for himself. He is now a regular in the Nosebleed Stakes high rollers that run. In fact, his biggest score came at the 100K buy-in event at the PCA in 2016, where he took third for almost $800,000. Ankush also has a WSOP bracelet after he won the 5K Turbo event a couple summers ago. His totals sit at $4.5 million in live tournaments, and that's to go along with the millions more he won online over the years. Anyway, enough intro. Here's my conversation with Ankush Mandavia. I am here with Ankush Mandavia. Mandavia?
Mandavia, yeah.
Mandavia. I screw that up every time.
Yeah, no big deal.
Go by Kush?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of nicknames. Kush, Pistons.
Pistons?
Yeah.
Just because you're a fan of the team?
That was my online screen name, so when I first came into the poker community, people knew me by that. So
Pistons 87?
Pistons 87, yeah. So I have probably 20
And that's
nicknames.
how many points you scored in a high school basketball game?
Yeah, pretty much.
Man, that's quite a wet shot you got there. 87 hanging on him.
No, that's the year I was born. It's pretty simple. Nothing too crazy behind the story.
What is crazy is the Detroit, Georgia connection.
Yeah, that was pretty random.
Born in Detroit.
Born in Detroit.
What was the story there? What are you doing in the Motor City?
I was just born there, so I lived there till I was 2 years old, and then my parents moved to Kalamazoo, which is halfway between Detroit and Chicago.
What was their story?
I think my mom had a job. She's a doctor, so she worked for the VA. And they had a huge office in Battle Creek, so we moved to Kalamazoo, which was like 20 minutes away. So I grew up there. I went to high school there, and then when it came time to go to college, I didn't want to go to anywhere with cold weather. I actually wanted to go to the University of Michigan, but I didn't get in.
Yeah.
Which was really disappointing because my sister went there. I had like everything going for me.
Your older sister.
My older sister.
You were a legacy and you didn't get in.
Yeah.
How bad were your grades in high school?
No, I had good grades. I got into like other very good
Your
schools.
mom's a doctor.
I know everything. I had everything going for me. I was brown. Like I could have worked that angle.
Oh, man,
but
let me tell you about the brown. The brown.
It was supposed to work.
I
But anyways, it was a kind of a blessing because I ended up at Georgia, and that was definitely the best 4 years of my life. So.
Well, let's rewind. What were you getting into in your high school days? What was the focus?
My high school days, I don't know.
Good
my parents
student,
were
not
pretty
quite good enough, but
yeah, my parents were pretty strict. I mean, I was pretty focused on. School activities, whatever, like tennis, golf, debate. Just, I guess towards the end of college, I worked really hard.
Were you the jock? Were you the social butterfly?
No, I wasn't a jock, and I wasn't a nerd. I was somewhere in between, I guess.
Okay.
I'm more of a social. My friends call me a social butterfly now, but.
Are you that guy who everyone knows? Everyone through?
Yeah, pretty much.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're the Kevin Bacon.
I get a lot of texts being like, oh, so-and-so, like, can I have so and so's number? It's kind of annoying at this point, but it used to be cool, you know, like between 22 and 28, it was very cool.
You're a Rolodex at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, so did poker come into play at all when you're in high school?
No, not in high school.
87. So you were in high school when the poker moved.
Yeah, I guess a little bit. I played like I guess home games with friends. I wasn't too into it. Like I didn't start with the home games and friends and then jump right into online poker. Yeah, I think the moneymaker thing came around, but I wasn't too into it. We just like kind of started off playing a little bit there, and then I didn't play at all when I went to college. So there was a huge gap there. And then when I was in college,
dabbled a little bit, dipped your toe in.
Yeah,
not too much.
Gotta keep I found out what it was all about, you know. And then
you decide to be a bulldog.
Yeah.
Have you ever even been to Georgia?
My sister lived in Atlanta, so I mean, I definitely did a tour around southern schools and figured it out.
As brave of a
adventure as I went to the campus and I fell in love with it, and that was it.
Got it. Man, there's just something about an SEC campus.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like, just. Yeah, I miss it.
Let's talk about college. I mean, I'm a Gator, so we're technically rivals. Although it's like always been like a friendly rivalry. How many trips to Jacksonville did you make?
I've probably done a total of 8 trips.
8?
Yeah.
I was about to brag with my 3.
I went
3 out of 4 years.
I went every year in college, and I went a bunch of years after. So either 7 or 8.
For those that don't know, we're talking about the world's largest outdoor cocktail party.
Yeah, they won't let us call it that anymore technically, but that's
Florida
what it is.
Georgia game on neutral soil every year.
Yeah.
Neutral, I'm using quotation marks.
Out of those 8 years, we've probably gotten beaten 7, so it's not.
Those were the good years.
Yeah, those were the Tebow years.
It hasn't been good since.
Yeah, we've turned around our program. So
Tebow once elbowed me in the face in line at a Chick-fil-A.
Wow, you're lucky.
I know.
You got to touch Tim Tebow.
I apologized to him.
That's funny.
So yeah, what was college like? What were you studying? What was the plan? Were you a doctor?
No. I was I was pharmacy to go in, and then within like 3 weeks I switched to business. So
what was it? The chemistry?
Organic chemistry was
the weed out class.
I got weeded out before the weed out process. Like I took 2 weeks of it, and you could drop ad, and I just dropped it, and I was done. So then I did economics, and that's what I finished with. So I was supposed to, get a job in Atlanta and like do the like.
So you were gonna stay. You weren't planning on going back.
Oh no, I loved Atlanta. I loved Georgia. I loved Atlanta. I was never gonna leave. And then I started playing poker, and Black Friday happened, and I was gone. So.
Okay, well that's most people. Black Friday happened, and they don't play poker anymore.
Yeah. No.
Let's not go through that. First of all, how did you discover the game in the first place, or rediscover it, I should say?
So there was 4 kids that went to my college. These are old school names, but it was Yellow Sub 86.
Jeff Williams.
Jeff Williams, yeah, he was kind of the ringleader of the group. And there was 3 other guys, T Domsky and TB Thinks, and one other guy. And so they were playing pretty high stakes when I was in college, and I was kind of like in awe of them, because they would be playing like.
But you weren't playing.
I wasn't playing, but I was still like aware of what was going on because Jeff Williams went and won the first ever EPT Grand Final for $1 million, or €1 million or something, which at the time was like $2 million.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my gosh, these guys are incredible, And then, we played some 25-cent, 50-cent game in our dorm, and Jeff Williams came down with like $50 while we were all sitting with 5, and he would just splash around, and I was like, wow, these guys have it made.
Yeah.
So I kind of like followed in their footsteps a little bit. Like I didn't learn poker through them, but I was kind of infatuated with the game because of how well they were doing. They would. You
saw a blueprint.
Yeah, they would go on trips everywhere. They'd be like, "Oh, you should come to WPT Fallsview with us in December." I'm like, I have like $300. I can't go to WPT Fallsview in December, So
that was such a crazy tournament. I would cover because I think I was covering that right around when you were like 18, 19.
Yeah.
And that Fallsview tournament was just full of 18, 19, 20-year-old kids who had never touched chips before in their lives. Just playing their first big tournament, plopping $5K down like no big deal.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, and they kind of paved the way. I mean, I have so much respect for those guys. I don't know. I think they're out of poker now or doing their own things, but I think they're all pretty successful. So that I kind of started at like the bottom of the totem pole at college, and then worked my way up through.
Passed them all. Number 2 on Georgia's all-time money list now.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense because you're not from technically. You're not from Georgia.
I rep Georgia hard enough to be part of Georgia.
Where would you rank in the Michigan list?
I don't know. Probably pretty low. There's a lot of good players from Michigan.
Ryan
actually.
Reese has got you.
Yeah, Ryan Reese has got
Joe
me by a
Cotta.
lot.
I mean, they got 2 champions. That's not fair.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a lot of money to overcome. All right, so how did you rediscover the game then? 25-cent, 50-cent games, Jeff Williams splashes.
Yeah, I mean, even then, I wasn't like I wouldn't consider myself even a recreational player. Like, I was just kind of playing for fun in between classes. I wasn't hooked
reading
yet.
Super System.
No. I've
Okay.
never read a poker book. I wasn't even hooked yet. And then I guess I started playing online, and I just got lucky on my first deposit and ran up a big roll.
This is your senior year?
This is probably my junior year of college.
Okay.
Yeah. I ran up a pretty big
You
roll.
were coasting to your degree.
I was definitely I was doing pretty well in college until I started playing poker, and then I mean I graduated with a decent GPA or whatever. I did pretty well, but
Did it in 4 years?
4 years, yeah. So I didn't get too off track, but yeah, I mean I would run up big rolls on stars and just lose it all, and that happened probably 3 or 4 times.
$50 at a time.
I would deposit $50, $100, whatever. Like
Yeah.
I don't think I ever deposited more than like $1,000 worth of like $50 or $100 deposits, and then I would just like cash out like 20% of it and just snap lose it all every time.
Yeah.
Cash
out curse.
Cash out curse. I don't know, whatever it was. Doom switch is I guess what we called it back in the day.
That's right. The Doom and the Boom switch.
Yeah, and the boom switch. Yeah. When you deposit that $50, you get the boom switch.
Boom switch.
Yeah, I mean, I was just a crazy gambler. I just had it in me, so I kind of ran up big rolls and lost them all. I think this is the story with most people.
Playing cash or big tournaments?
Yeah,
or?
I started with cash. Cash
Okay.
was the only like big stakes thing that you could do, like
Mm-hmm.
run up a small roll to big stakes. So I started out playing ring games. I think like I started with 25 cent, 50 cent. I was playing $20, $25, $50 by like a month into it. And
This is mostly on stars.
yeah.
That's where the majority of your online successes come.
Yeah, stars and a little bit of full tilt. But yeah, the majority on stars.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would play 25, 50 and I would like 4-table Elky and ADZ, and I would just lose it all to them, and I would start back, and it was kind of rinse and repeat for a couple of years until I finally decided that I was gonna try to take it seriously.
Do you have a gambling itch?
I don't know.
What do you think? I only ask because what do you think attracted you to playing for such high stakes? At that point, when you're in college, you don't have any real money. It's just money online.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think it was more of a thing that I didn't understand how the game worked and how variance worked, or how I didn't study the game before I got into it. So I just thought that if you could win, you could always win.
Yeah,
I didn't
win
realize
forever.
that you could just like lose huge amounts of money. I didn't realize that you could go out and big downswings. I just thought that once you made it to 25-50, you could just keep winning a bunch of money. And then I would see other people winning a bunch of money, and I'd be like, okay, I can do this too. But they were obviously well rolled for the game, and they understood the game more. I was just kind of like, and poker was so easy back then. I wasn't even thinking about what my opponents could have. I was just playing my own cards.
Yeah.
And I was doing this well, so that's why the guys that were actually
level one
good.
thinking at 25-50.
Yeah, the guys that were exactly, and the guys that were actually good, they crushed really, really hard. So
Yeah. So at what point did everything click? Did you? I mean, you said you never read a book. Did you go on a training site? Did you meet somebody who said?
I met somebody online. I started playing Heads Up, Cash, and I did pretty well doing the same thing, just playing my own cards.
Yeah.
And I was just, I was kind of friends with, I had AIM, I was friends with, like, the other regs, and I met this one guy, and he was like...
Social butterfly again.
Yeah, he was like, well, we should do, like, review sessions or something. And so I did a review session with him, and he was like, so what do you think your opponent's range is in this spot? And I was like, what do you mean my opponent's range? I have ace queen here, and there's a queen on the flop, like, all the money's going in. He's like, well, what do you think that your opponent is calling your turn bet with? I'm like... I don't know. I have ace queen. That's it. That's all that matters.
Just showing your ignorance right there.
Yeah, exactly. And I couldn't believe. I mean, this is pretty crazy that this is how I was thinking about poker at the beginning. And
this is how I still think about poker weekly. It's all good. Some of us never graduate past level 1.
Yeah, level one's a long time ago, I guess. But yeah.
So when did it click? When were you like, oh, I could do this for a living?
Well, I started doing well at like low stakes cash, and just started, instead of like trying to run it up right away, I just could build a roll, and then I had like consistent months doing that.
Yeah.
And then I started playing Heads Up St. Goes and had consistent months working my way up through the stakes doing that, and that's when I knew, like once I kind of made a certain amount, or like had like a monthly thing going, that's when I was like, okay, I can try to do this. I wasn't ever like full on board, just being like, okay, I'm going to be a professional poker player.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, let me try to do this for a while I'm like doing other things. Like I always had something extra.
So you were still polishing up the resume.
I was studying for my CFA. My CFA.
Economist.
Yeah. When I was playing poker, also I was trying to do something else, but then like after a certain threshold, I was like, okay, I'm all in. I'm like,
what was that threshold? $1 million?
No, I don't want to say a number. It was just like an amount where I just
you couldn't ignore it anymore.
I couldn't ignore it anymore. Yeah. And
now, did you take this evidence to your parents when you told them you were going to be a professional poker player? You say, "Hi, Doctor Mom. Remember when I was going to be a pharmacist?" No, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I definitely didn't tell them right away because I knew the reaction. I told them after I like had some success.
Mm-hmm.
And
once your name's in the paper and you can't hide it anymore.
Yeah, I guess a little bit. I had some success, and like. My parents, they're really cool and really chill, especially now. I mean, they're like the coolest parents in the world. But
they're
back
here.
then, yeah, they're here. Yeah,
I have to tell people this. What was it, last week and a half ago? You almost made the final table at the Venetian, and your parents showed up.
Did they? I didn't even. Oh yeah, they were.
Yeah,
there.
they were.
Right.
I mean, you didn't make the final table, so they didn't get to stay.
Yeah.
Sorry to rub salt.
Yeah,
in the
I had to send them home early
with the 10th place. But I was like, they're here. They are support. I mean, it's the Christmas season. They're in town, obviously.
Yeah. They actually come to Vegas a lot because they're retired and they just hang out and like they live in Houston, so it's an easy flight from there. So yeah, they come out quite a bit, and I like having them around. So it's nice.
So obviously very supportive.
Yeah, they're now it's super supportive. Like my dad's always encouraging me to do like other things as well, but yeah, they're definitely super supportive of the game. Yeah, but I had to have some success before I told them, otherwise it'd be like kind of a massacre. Because I was still in school, like when you're in school you're supposed to be studying, and
of course, yeah. How did you even get good at this, Ankush?
I don't know. I guess I just
did you take a class of some kind?
No, I guess I kind of got lucky. Like I ran into the right situation, I met the right people at the right time, and I think that's kind of the story with a lot of people,
Yeah, and you have to run good at the beginning.
You have to run good at the beginning. That's a very underrated part of it. I remember at times where I think I could have like lost a certain amount and I would have just been done.
Yeah.
And you just have to run good at those points, and I don't think people give enough like credence to that. Like you just at the very beginning you had to run so good.
All of us
stay
won
the
first coin flip.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So yeah, it's really.
All right. Did you even entertain the idea of getting a real job? Did you send out your resume?
Oh no, yeah, I did the whole thing. I went to all the job fairs. Everything. I had a real job in Myrtle Beach actually for a few months before I was
out of college.
Right out of college. Yeah.
What were you doing?
I was working in real estate at. I was doing search engine optimization for a real estate company.
Okay. Getting those keywords.
Yeah, the keywords. I was trying to like make them top 10 Google.
I should ask you what I should title.
Don't ask me anything about that because I like now people ask me like, oh, you did search engine optimization, like tell me something about this. I'm like, I don't even touch a keyboard anymore. Yeah. The
internet's changed.
Yeah, the internet's changed a lot. So yeah, that's a distant memory, but
I will ask you about that Myrtle Beach job later in a different question when it comes up on the show.
Okay.
But let's get into what were those first few years as a poker pro like? Because that was not a good time in the online poker world.
Yeah. I mean, I had the life, because I had a place in Atlanta. I was grinding.
Atlanta, the mecca of gambling.
Atlanta's amazing. I mean, because you wouldn't
have... No casino in the whole state, by the way.
There's no casino. The closest casino is 6 hours away in Biloxi. But yeah, I mean, I went down there a couple times. It was fun. But I was just mainly playing online, doing well. All my friends were there, so like I had it good. And then all of a sudden Black Friday hit. So
had you been traveling yet at this point?
I hadn't traveled. I think I went to one live tournament before Black Friday.
Strictly online, then.
Strictly online.
So
I had no interest in tournaments. Yeah. I didn't even know what they were about. Like I probably played like 20 tournaments total on Stars before Black Friday or something.
So this was a huge problem.
Yeah, it was a huge problem, and then I think I went to a couple EPTs after that, and then I decided to move to Canada.
Mm-hmm. Vancouver?
I started out in Montreal.
Montreal?
Yeah, which I highly recommend. It's a nice place.
How's your French?
Terrible, but you don't need it.
You don't need it?
You don't need it.
So no big adjustments after Black Friday. Switching to live poker versus online.
No, not right away. I was strictly online for probably 2 years after Black Friday.
So even when they said, "Hey, maybe you should learn live poker," you were like, "Nope."
I didn't even think that was a possibility.
Yeah.
Like I had my certain niche. I was a heads up, sit and go online player. Like I had built up.
You had that
status.
nice shark scope graph.
No, I was kind of a rake back grinder for a while, so I had that Supernova Elite going instead.
There you go. Yeah.
So I had like that nice income every month, and
well, that's a lot of volume. So like, what kind of hours were you putting in back then?
I was probably playing like 11 hours, 5 days a week, 11 hours a day, something like that. Yeah. So a lot.
Yeah, that's more than you would be doing in Myrtle Beach.
yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, it was definitely.
Did you like
a
that
key
life?
Experience?
Let's say you could have done that forever and kept profiting like you were profiting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you would have to go on the road and do it live. What would you rather do?
Online, for
really?
Sure. Not even close. Yeah, because you live in the comfort of your own home. You make your own hours. You do what you want when you want. You don't have to worry about hotels, traveling, this and that. You can kind of travel for fun when you want to travel,
of course,
instead of as a job. So if online stayed like the community stayed it the way it was, I wouldn't have never left. But
so why are you living in the U.S. right now?
Oh well, I mean, I can't even go into the lobbies and compete with the people at the $200 level now or the $100 level. Like it just became so tough. Mm-hmm. And with the technology and like people using HUDs. We didn't even use HUDs back then.
Yeah.
So people have gotten so far advanced with the technology, and there's artificial intelligence now with Heads Up, and there's perfect information. So if you haven't kept up with that and worked with the programs, you're just not going to be successful.
Heads Up specifically,
and that's all I was playing.
Yeah.
So then I moved from Heads Up to online MTTs. I started in 2013, the beginning of 2013. And then I did that for a while and then moved to live. So it was kind of a process.
Yeah. And then obviously, blow up year, kind of 2015, I'd say.
Yeah, I guess 2015.
Well, we could go back to the online success because the scoop happened in 2015. Your 5 biggest scores were in 2015.
I think I got really lucky in 2012 too.
Okay.
Like I hadn't played many tournaments. It was right after Black Friday, and then I had a good scoop in 2012, and then 2014, 2015, 2016.
So what happened live? Was there something that clicked for you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was probably one of the worst players in every field for like years. I lost so much money traveling and playing these tournaments. Luckily, I had online to support.
Yeah.
But
you had evidence that you were a good player elsewhere.
Yeah, I was just so bad.
What do you think the leak was? Was it just...
I was just way too aggressive.
Yeah.
Well, people don't fold live, so you can't play like terrible hands all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I was just way too aggressive in every spot.
Trying to win every pot. Like playing any 2 cards, which is when you're playing Heads Up, you're forced to play any 2 cards in any spot. Yeah.
When you're playing live, you have to be a lot more selective of what kind of cards you're playing, and so it took me like three years probably to like figure it out, I guess. And
at any point in that 3 years, did you go, maybe I can't do this?
No, I think I blamed it on variance and like bad luck. I just didn't know. I didn't know like what I was doing wrong.
Yeah.
Like it didn't occur to me until I figured it out that I was like, okay, well, it couldn't have all been like variance and bad luck because all my friends were winning. Like
you kind of see that in the cliques in the poker world where there's like, let's say there's like 8 guys and 5 of them have won something big, and 3 of them are just like, when's my turn?
Yeah.
And of those 3, one of them is legitimately waiting for his turn, and the other 2, it's never gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a different game from online. Like I don't even know how to equate the two from online tournaments to live tournaments. It's just so different. So
yeah,
you don't see that many, especially now. You don't see that many online players winning live tournaments as much. It's mostly like people that are established live players, and I think there's a reason for that.
So you're an established live player now, huh?
Sort of. I think so. I think the past few years I've played mostly live.
Could be a hybrid. Kush hybrid.
I don't think I can play online. I play the Scoop and W Coop series. But if I was to try to play like the daily, I know I could do it if I really tried to get back into it, to play like the daily online MTTs. But I don't think there's as much money as playing live.
Yeah.
In it, so I'm not gonna work as hard to do that. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely a live player now. The past 2 years, I've only played live basically, besides major series. I think I enjoy a little bit more now. Like it's more fun to kind of be at a table, and there's a lot more dynamics you have to like think about. And
you also started playing high rollers though, so like that's got to be a completely different animal.
That's a completely different animal. Yeah. That's just. I
mean, obviously, there's a ton of selling action going on in those games, but I'm wondering when that happens, do you just treat it like a tournament that whatever piece you have, is that basically the mindset you go in with, or is there just so much history with all of these other players that it's
I never kind of equate the buy-in ever to how I'm playing, So if I'm playing a 25K or 100K or 300K, it's more about my opponents at the table. Like I never think about, okay, this is 100K, so I have to like do different things, Because if you do that, then you just won't succeed. So you kind of have to play your game and make adjustments based on your opponents and not like the buy-in or the level or whatever. So anywhere, like from $1,000 tournament, you have to make adjustments obviously to playing against $1,000 players, and then for a $100,000 tournament, you're playing against the best players in the world. So you kind of have to make adjustments to that. But in terms of the buy-in, there's not really any. The first one, like the first two, you're like, oh wow, this is like huge, like
well,
I can't believe I'm playing a 25K.
Is there a buy-in level that gets you even nervous these days?
I definitely like the 100Ks and the 300Ks. There's just like a feeling of like, wow, this is so cool. It's not being nervous. It's like
more that we don't get to do this very often.
Yeah, it's just
don't blow it.
Exactly, it's an exciting opportunity, but this lasts for like 5 minutes. Like you sit down, it lasts for 5 minutes, and then you're back to playing like whatever, however you play. You
puke in your bucket. And
I mean,
next hand.
I definitely felt it for the 300K. I was like, because they made this whole big production of it, and it was it's a lot of fun. You see like Kevin Hart,
Super High Roller Bowl.
Yeah, the Super High Roller Bowl. You see Kevin Hart, you're like, oh wow, like this is crazy, and then that lasts for 5 minutes, and then you're just playing normal poker,
Yeah, exactly.
And then, I don't think there's a big like consideration with the actual buy-in level, in terms of kind of how you play.
Yeah, let's talk about the bracelet, because that one was kind of an exciting 3-handed, 4-handed situation there.
Yeah, it was.
This was the 5K turbo.
Well,
I guess it was a
30-minute levels.
30-minute levels is a turbo in the
World
Series.
Like, put that asterisk in there,
Took it down for a little over $500,000. Congrats.
Yeah, thanks.
Where's the bracelet? I don't see it here.
It's in a safe
your house
somewhere.
I'm in your apartment in Vegas.
Yeah.
For people listening, great view of the Strip. No trophy case though with your bracelet.
No, I'm not too flashy of a guy, so I just it's in some safe somewhere. I don't know. I don't really know where it is.
A vault in Zurich.
I think my parents have it somewhere. It's probably in Houston.
Tell me about that. What's it like? I mean, because obviously you're an economist, so it's all about your ROI, your hourly dollars and cents, right?
No, that one was cool. I mean, that's the one you strive for as a tournament player. When I became a tournament player, I was like, I have to win a bracelet. Yeah. Or even before I was a tournament player, I was like, that'd be so cool to win a bracelet. But that was just like definitely the best accomplishment I've had in poker. It was surreal. It was crazy. I don't know if it can get better than that.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, remind me again. Who was the final? Because I think was it Bonomo?
Strelitz got second.
Yeah.
And this really nice guy from Germany. What's his name? I see him all the time at tournaments. It was his first tournament, and he got third. He satellited in for like $500. Played the tournament, got third.
Must be nice.
Yeah, and I see him. He's a really nice guy. I see him in a bunch of places. And then I can't remember who got fourth, but yeah, it was super fun.
Well, at one point when you're like, okay, I have a shot. I mean, do the nerves kick in? It's a 5K, so obviously you're not, going to get nervous in a 5K. You played plenty of those. But at what point do you go, when you're closing in on the bracelet, are you like, oh,
It really wasn't until I got it all in with Strelitz when I had it in good, you know?
Really?
That's the only time where I was like, holy crap, I can actually do this. I can win a bracelet.
Christian Nils,
yeah.
was the third place guy.
Yeah. He's really good guy. He's funny. But yeah, I think when I got it in with Jax, I think he had like 10-7 off. I was like, okay, I can do this.
Now you can allow yourself to feel excited.
Yeah. And yeah, like I hit a jack on the turn and it was over, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, let's talk about that mindset. Do you ever look at the first place numbers when you're in a tournament?
Oh yeah, I mean you have to like
how
you have
soon?
to try to get the reason I get 10th in all these card player tournaments is because I try to get first. Like I first, second, and third. I know that the way tournaments are structured, that's where all the money is. So like I'm gunning for first through third. It's pretty rare that like I'll get like fifth or sixth and try to ladder. You know, like I'm always trying to get.
But you're not like blowing up ICM.
No, I'm not like torching it, but I know that. I definitely go for it in more spots than a lot of people would, because
specifically on like a final table bubble.
On a final table bubble, or like like 20 left or whatever. I'm just doing whatever it takes to try to get the most money possible, right? So
does that include embracing higher variance?
Sometimes, yeah. I definitely take higher variance routes sometimes, and I don't know. I know that, like, a lot of people, they'll look at the money and say, oh my gosh, like, if I get sixth place, I'll get $70,000. Like, that'll be great. But I know entering a tournament, that point will come at some time, because I've played so many tournaments. So I don't look at that anymore. I'm like, okay, well, sixth place is going to get me 12 buy-ins, but first place is going to get me 50. So now I'm getting for first place instead of trying to ladder up for the money. Yeah. And it goes, like, I've done this for like $1,000 tournaments all the way up to $100,000 tournaments, so it's definitely harder when the money goes up. It's definitely harder to like look at that, but I try my best to.
Well, let's also bring up then the Scoop win in 2015, because this was a 2K rebuy. Guys got you 3-2 heads up, and he says ICM deal, and you're like, I believe your exact words were "F you." No, no, you said you said no. We can play if not even. That's all you said, and the guy gave you an even chop.
Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't. I was just expecting to start a negotiation. Yeah. I was expecting him to come back and be like,
I'm just saying, that's intimidating.
This is the amount of money that I'm going to give you, and he was just like, okay. I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Have you ever had a deal go so well before?
No, that's the best deal I've ever had. Yeah. I mean, people messaged me after that and being like, I can't believe how good you run, and like this is ridiculous. Like, this is a 2K scoop. This isn't supposed to happen here.
A 2K scoop. Yeah. Down in chips. Guy gives you an even chop. Not even, and then you play it out for a little bit extra, and you beat him pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean, after you chop up the money and you're playing for not as much money, both players are going to kind of like take higher variance routes, so it usually goes quicker whenever that happens. And yeah, I mean, we're playing for a scoop watch, but it's a scoop watch. It's prestigious, but it's not like a bracelet, so people aren't going to like fight tooth and nail for it.
You probably had other tables open at the same time.
No. Not every time. I low table, like I have 2 or 3 tables most of the times or less.
A lot different than the heads up days. Table.
Even then. Yeah.
I guess you're playing so high.
2 or 3 tables. I was probably one of the worst 4 tabling regulars that played. So I always try to keep it low.
Never did the 16 tiles across the screen.
No, I tried that a few times and just lost a bunch of money.
I was so bad at it.
Yeah,
I tried to get up to 12 once, and I think 4 of them it just timed out, and I never realized it halfway through a tournament. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just can't do it. I mean, I see people do it all the time. I was like, oh, it's such a great idea. Like, you're gonna have 16 tables. You're gonna have 5 that you go deep in. Then you're gonna have 3 that you can focus on that you're really deep in, and then you're gonna win one.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm just like, okay, 16 tables, and now I have 4 left, and I have 20 blinds in all of them, and I just don't know what to do. So I stopped doing that.
Yeah. We got some rapid-fire questions to close out the podcast, if you are ready.
All right.
Biggest pot you've ever won or lost. Whatever that means to you. It can be cash, tournament equity, winner or loser, your choice.
I lost an 80K pot once.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest one.
Can we talk about the venue?
It was online. It was a 200, 400 full tilt game.
Okay,
Yeah.
6 max, heads up.
It may or may not have been for all the money that I had at the time.
This story's getting better. Okay. So
Yeah.
presumably 40 of that was yours?
Yeah, 40 of it was mine. I was playing heads up.
So
I
you're
flopped
playing
this,
for your bankroll. 200,
may or may not be
400.
playing for my bankroll.
Heads up or 6 max or?
This is heads up, yeah. Versus the best heads up player at the time.
Oh, give me the year at least so we
I
can
think
guess.
this
You
was
just want to
maybe
say
like,
his name.
This was very early. This is like one of those times I ran up a huge roll and then I lost it all. It was probably like 2000, maybe 2008 or something, 2009.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all you internet sleuths out there can figure out who the best player was back in 2009.
I don't think anyone's gonna get it because like he was the best player for like a
week.
very. He's still around. He was the best player for like a very small period of time, but like he's still a crusher.
Hey, being number 4 is still good.
Yeah.
Even number 14.
So I flopped a set. It was like a 6-2-3 board. I called a 4-bet with 2s or something because I never folded to 4 bets. And flopped
It's just
a set.
set mining. That's all it is.
6-3-2, got it in versus aces, and he ran out like a running flush or something. And I just lost it all.
Back before you could run it twice online.
Yeah, that was not a fun one. But
So
I
what
guess it had to
happens?
happen.
Okay, all your money is at high stakes online. You have none left. What happens?
You just go to bed and try to like make it a dream, you know.
So you're not
this didn't
messaging
happen."
people like, I need to get back in this game.
No,
Send me
no.
money.
People are messaging me like you shouldn't be in the game, you know, like what are you doing? Are you crazy? I'm like, I gotta take a shot at some point.
That hurts. But who knows? Maybe if that guy hadn't won that 80K, he wouldn't be in poker anymore. Everything worked out
that's
for the
true.
best.
Yeah.
He'll give it back to you one day.
Maybe.
Tenfold. You never know. Who's the best poker player that we've never heard of? Or just somebody who doesn't get enough credit? I could argue you, by the way.
No.
But you're on this podcast now, so you don't count anymore.
Trying to think. Best poker player that we don't know.
One of your colleagues who's just always slightly under the radar.
This is a tough one. I can't really think of anyone right now.
That's all good.
Maybe I'll come back to that one.
Okay. You don't have to respect anyone else's game but your own. What about the best swap or piece you ever got?
Best swap or piece.
Are you a big swapper?
I swap sometimes. I'm not
Same
a big
guys
swapper.
or just whoever offers or?
Mostly the same guys, like kind of my close friend circle. I don't. Best.
All right, don't answer that question.
Yeah.
But what is the etiquette when a player asks you for a swap and you think they're just dog shit bad at poker?
I mean, I try to be as polite as possible, and it's true.
But you kind of have to discourage future asks at the same time, right?
No, because like the same people play every tournaments. I have a set group that I swap with, and then I don't want to swap anymore. So it's like if someone asks me to swap, I'm just gonna tell them the truth. Like I don't have any more pieces to swap out. Mm-hmm. So like I didn't usually have that problem where I have to like turn people down. I just tell them the truth. I'm swapped out.
Player A. Okay, we'll just call him Player A. Everyone knows who this player is. We all have a picture of him or her in our mind. They're just perennial losers, you know what I mean? Comes up to you and says, hey, man, you want to swap 5%? You say no. Right behind him is Fedor, and he says, I want to swap 5%. What do you do?
I just say no, because it's the same thing, Like, I swap with the people that I'm friends with or, like, that I have pre-swaps with. And I know the situation, like Fedor's never gonna, like this is a funny situation, but I just have this certain group that I swap with, and that's.
I've seen a few awkward encounters over the years.
Yeah, I mean it happens all the time. Like I've seen it too, and I've.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I don't know.
No,
Swapping's
I'm good.
a weird thing for sure.
Overheard somebody say, "Are you even playing in this tournament?"
That's disrespectful. That should never happen.
Well, it was legitimate question in that situation.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't think that should ever happen.
What about D-Gen stories? Any crazy prop bets over the years?
Crazy prop bets, D-Gen stories.
You're not a pit guy, right?
No, not much.
Sports betting?
A little bit.
Got a bet on your Bulldogs, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have a bet on them. Crazy prop bets. I remember there was a crazy one in Vegas a few years ago where a guy had to get stung by a scorpion.
What?
As part of the prop bet. Yeah, he had to do like 3 crazy things and get stung by a scorpion for like $20K. And he did it. And then the same guy the next year had to only drink like chicken broth for 30 days straight. Like that's all he could have for his like whatever, and he got paid a bunch of money to
There's not a number in the world. Where, I mean, did he have to like catch a live desert scorpion, or?
I don't know how it actually went down.
Can you just go to a pet store and put
I think
your
they
hand
had.
in a cage?
I think the whole reason the thing came up is because they had a bunch of scorpions at their house, and they were like, well, one person got stung on accident, and like this whole like prop bet came up. This was probably like 8 years ago or something.
Oh my God, poker players.
Yeah, back then especially. Like now poker players are very like, you know, like I have to do this, this, and this. You
Not
know, very
very.
regimented.
Let's not say
so.
very. They're saner.
No
one's jumping into Shark Tanks anymore. But
that's what I'm saying. Like people were locking themselves in the Bellagio for like 40 days or something. You know,
living in bathrooms and
bathrooms in Bellagio. But now people are very, you know, there's not that much money being given away for free, so people are very chill.
Everyone's got to get their edge perfectly.
Yeah.
What's your when you got headphones on at the table? What are you listening to?
I just have Spotify and I just whatever.
Well, I didn't mean what app are you using. I mean like specific.
Yeah, I listen to. I like classic rock. I listen to
Motown probably.
Sometimes if it comes on the classic rock channel, you know.
Don't disappoint your roots.
Yeah, hip hop. Whatever. It depends what part of a tournament. Like if I'm deep in a tournament, I won't listen to hip hop because I'll be way too aggressive.
Really?
You know?
Okay. So some people say it doesn't affect them. Okay, so
no, I have to be like listening to something chill if I'm deep in a tournament.
Yeah.
But in the beginning of a tournament, it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any poker rules that you're not a fan of?
Poker rules.
Any procedures, rules, policies that you would just tweak or change a little bit?
I mean, I think the WPT took a huge step in the right direction with the shot clock. I think it was ridiculous how long people were tanking in situations that didn't call for it. Mm-hmm. Like, I understand bubble tanking, I understand page ump tanking, I understand, you know, but like day 1 or like day 2 tanking, you know, like you're like 80 off the money and people just take way too long in every spot. So the shot clock thing's really good.
How much of this is a B-rated and lower problem for players, or is this even affecting the top guys?
It affects everyone, yeah. Even the top guys. There's top guys definitely that take way, way, way too much time. I mean, it's one of those things where you know what they're doing. Like, you know that they know what they're doing. So you know that they don't need to take, like, an extra minute at every spot. And I understand, like, a lot of guys are doing it for balance and this and that. But at the end of the day, you kind of know what you're doing at least 20 seconds into a decision. So you don't need to take an extra 2 minutes. So I think
let's say you're in a tournament, high stakes tournament. Everyone knows what they're doing. Guy fires the river, gets shoved on. It's an easy fold, but he still waits a minute to fold.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Exactly. Like at that point, what's the difference between him taking a minute to fold and then you kind of wondering, did he have it? Did he not have it? Or smiling, going, you got me, and then tossing it to him. What's really the difference?
Yeah, I mean, even then, like.
Nothing. Like, you still don't know if he's telling the truth.
You can tank like 30 seconds and still get the same result. You know, you could be like, you could go all in, or you can bet a huge hand with like 6 high or something and get shoved on. You can take 20 seconds or 30 seconds and like they're still gonna like be thinking that you have a decision or something. You don't need to take 3 minutes. Yeah. And I see people take 3 minutes all the time, and I'm just like. And it's on live streams, like people can see what you're doing, you know, like it's not like any secret.
That's what drives me even crazier.
Yeah,
like, everyone's gonna know.
I know. And
what are you doing?
And it happens on live streams. So think about how much it happens on a non-live stream. Like,
I always like those guys who bluff the river, get jammed on, and then immediately muck their cards. And you're like, well, that didn't work.
Yeah.
Like they have no shame whatsoever.
For sure.
It's like,
for sure.
That's the way to do it. It's probably costing them money though. That's probably why they don't do it.
the snap fold might be. It's definitely cost me before.
Which poker pro did you admire coming up, and did you ever get to play a pot with him or her?
Poker pro that I admire.
87, so you're younger than...
I never really cared too much about, like, the big pros that were in the game. I guess,
It was all about Jeff Williams.
Yeah, I mean, like, the college crew, like, those were the guys, you know? Those were, like, the guys I looked up to. Like, when I started playing tournaments, I would say Cal, probably. And then,
He can come in. It's all good.
No,
we only have a few minutes left. It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah, Cal was a big influence in my tournament life. So I guess I looked up to him a lot. But yeah.
And who got the better of who?
No, Cal's the best in the world. Like, there's no... That's my guy.
Okay, I have a question. What was the worst job that you had before poker?
Worst job.
Was it Myrtle Beach, or did you ever flip burgers?
No, I never flipped burgers, but I had to sell magazine ads. I didn't have to. I did this as an internship on my own.
Okay.
But I had to sell magazine ads.
You know, I work for a magazine, right?
No, but this was going door to door, trying to sell magazine ads that would never sell.
Yeah.
You know, like, it was one of those things where they were kind of just free rolling all these, like, 18, 19-year-old interns, and it was just the worst ever. So I got out of that pretty quickly.
How successful? What was your conversion rate?
I think I was 1 for 40 or something.
One?
But, yeah, I got one.
You had one?
And the one was like a repeating one. It was like you have to just sign them up to, like,
they call you.
Yeah, renew the contract. So I was like, that's the only one I ever did.
Remind me to try to sell you an ad before we're done here today.
Yeah, I mean, I can get sold, but not sell.
By the way, you can just buy your way onto Card Player's cover these days.
I can? Okay, how much
if you
is
write
that?
a big enough
$20?
check. No, you're gonna have to add several zeros to that.
No, that's too much.
Anybody's out there looking. If poker went away tomorrow, what kind of a job would you look for?
Poker went away tomorrow.
Maybe Dad knows you better on this one.
Yeah, he might. I don't know. What kind of job? I guess maybe like a trading job or something.
So you're gonna show up. You're gonna show up in New York.
No, definitely not.
No.
Okay,
show them your poker resume.
I lied. Maybe I don't even know. I don't know what I would do.
Is this scaring you? This question?
Kind of, yeah.
What if I just made poker illegal tomorrow? What would you do? You probably wouldn't do anything for like several weeks.
Yeah, I would map out a plan of action. That's what I would do.
All right, we end the podcast the same way every time with a question from the random question generator. And yours is an interesting one. It says, how should success be measured? And by that measurement, who is the most successful person you know?
How should success be measured?
You're a poker player, so do you measure success in winnings?
No, definitely not.
Victories?
Definitely not victories. It's, I guess probably how happy you are in your life. That's the only way to measure success.
So happiness is the rating. So first, before we figure out who's the happiest person, you know, rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, happiness wise.
No, I'm happy. I'm probably like 9.
9.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm pretty happy with everything.
So that 1 is just the travel days and.
Oh yeah, those are brutal. Yeah.
Checking into hotels late and.
Yeah, there's some stuff that's. I mean, there's stress in poker, you know. So like,
of course. So who's the most successful person you know then?
I don't know. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of happy people. I mean, it might be a combination of winning too, you know. So winning leads to happiness as well, financial freedom. I can't think of anyone right now though.
It's all good. You know it when you see them.
Yeah.
Kush, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thanks a lot.
That's it. That's the show. Thanks again to Kush. You can follow him on Twitter at Ankush Mandavia. If you like the show, please rate, review, and subscribe. If and when you do write that great 5-star review, go ahead and let us know about it by shooting us an email to pokerstories@cardplayer.com, and we'll hook you up with a free digital subscription to the magazine. Thanks for listening. Attention American poker players! Do you want to legally cash out your poker winnings to PayPal? Then head to globalpoker.com and see why it's the fastest growing site for US players. That's globalpoker.com.